Hello everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Hotla Mode, and today on Hotla Mode we're getting into the Governor Awards 2024 Fashion Review and Roast. Now, in the lead up to award seasons and inevitably the Oscars, all the actors are coming out because, you know, they want to make sure everybody saw their movies. So we have to talk about some of these looks, so without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we have Adrien Brody, who's wearing Celine. It's a pretty simple suit. I did notice that it was very heavy on Celine by Eddie Slimane, which is interesting considering that Eddie Slimane is no longer at Celine. Where he's gonna go, we don't know. But I did find it intriguing that Michael Ryder, who is the current creative director now, this isn't his work necessarily. But as for the suit, I think it's nice. I like the silky lapel, I like the bow tie, pretty clean, black, not really much to talk about, so we're gonna move on. Next up, we have Amy Adams, who's wearing Brunello Cucinelli. Here's my thing about it. I don't mind trying. I think it's good to try, and I feel like this is an attempt at trying. I guess what I would say is this very high-waisted column skirt I don't think works well with this button-down bell sleeve shirt. I understand that it's trying to make it a little bit more evening wear, but it separates. But separate them, don't put them together again. It just doesn't land. I also think maybe the sequin stripes doesn't really help. And I think for a brand like Brunello, it's really beautiful. It's really stunning. The craft work is amazing. Leaning into like that drop-dead glamour is more so what would work for the brand. Trying to make it mix and match with different things is not happening. It looks awkward. The way that it sort of like flows out at the top always is going to look strange because you're never going to be able to get that shirt to perfectly sit inside of that skirt and let it just sort of seamlessly flow between the two. I appreciate the attempt. I do. Next we have Amy Poehler. I don't know who she's wearing. I don't know if it's Paco Rabanne. I'm not sure, but it's a chainmail. And what I will say is, I appreciate the way that it's draped on the shoulder. Like, it's a strong shoulder. There's a little bit of padding in there, and I don't mind the way that it sort of comes down in the front. What I will say is, paired with the skirt, I'm a little lost. I feel like it's trying, but not fully committing to the bit. And with a material like this, you're just better off committing to the bit. You don't need to wear a floor length. I can't tell if it's a pant or a skirt. I think it's a skirt, but it also looks a little bit like a pant. Just do the full chainmail and just go for it. Whatever the result is, we'll appreciate you so much more because you just did it. Next up, we have Andrew Garfield. He's wearing Thom Sweeney and a Tag Heuer watch. Listen, I don't like this suit. I like the colors, and I feel like this is what Andrew normally does. It's many shades of the same color. So the suit is a sort of lighter blue, and then we can see the button-down shirt underneath is this navy. And like that, I don't mind. It's his sort of signature thing that he does, and I get it, and I'm into it, and it's fun. I think that I don't love like the fit of the pant. Maybe that's my one issue. And it's not like an awful fit. It doesn't really feel as gripping as some of his more recent looks, and maybe it's just the color that doesn't lend as well. It's just maybe too light, and so it looks a little puffy. But yeah, I don't know. I've seen him in better things recently, so this I'm just not obsessed with. Next up, we have Angelina Jolie, and she is wearing vintage. I'm not going to talk about her child because I don't know how old her child is, but very dapper. The piece that she's wearing, I believe, is like just an unnamed vintage style. It's a sort of halter neck moment with like a rattan. It's some sort of woven gold or beige style that flows into a lacy little high-waisted skirt. I actually like it. I think it's pretty. Nothing super duper crazy, nothing super duper out there, but I really do like the fact that Angelina Jolie does love a vintage and wears a vintage. I think the skirt is really beautiful. The lace on the skirt is really, really striking and really, really wonderful. And so, listen, if you find a vintage that you like, wear it. I'm not judging. Next up, we have Anna Kendrick. She's wearing Monique Lhuillier. Normally, I wouldn't even include Anna Kendrick, but like, I feel like I've been enjoying what she's been wearing lately. This I really like. I think it's pretty. It's not, you know, so memorable I'm gonna combust, but I do think that it fits her well. It's beautiful. The floral on it is a nice detail that is very visible, yet doesn't like make me want to rip my eyes out. Overall, I think she looks striking. Next up, we have Barry Keoghan, and he's wearing Dolce & Gabbana. Here's a thing. Barry to me always has like weird proportions, and I don't mean that like he is a weirdly proportioned person. I mean like the clothing that he wears always has like a strange proportion to it. And I think it's something about the fact that the pant, which I don't really mind, I think the pant fits fine. Whatever is underneath either the jacket or it's a part of the pant that sort of sits up high-waisted like and is silky. It just sort of like tries to elongate the torso, which is fine. I respect it. But it doesn't do it to me. And then you have this cropped sort of boxy blazer and then a pussy bow blouse that sort of like flows down. And I know that it's meant to be like cool and like lucid and languid, and it's not doing it for me. I don't know. Something about it is a little off. I don't hate it. I don't. I really don't. Because I actually think as far as proportions go, it's intriguing. But something just did not land to me. And maybe it's because I just don't think in general it has like a real exciting character. I don't know. I don't know what it is. And we have another Dolce look here with Colman Domingo. I love Colman. He's a star. Maybe it's not Colman's fault. And I'm not even like, oh my god, Dolce. I'm not like the Dolce hate train like I used to be. I'm not like, oh my god, I love Dolce, but like I'm not, you know. There's something about the jacket though. Listen, I understand this like boxy cropped thing that they're doing. I don't know if it's part of the jacket. I don't know if it's not part of the jacket and it's like a styling trick, which like I appreciate at the very least, styling trick, but I do think it adds an awkwardness to it. Again, I don't mind the experimentation. Like I don't mind people going for things. I appreciate it. It's just that your eyes have to acclimate to it. I don't know. I don't love it. I do think that it's cool that it matches the tie, but again, if this is like a new thing that we're like trying out, we got to keep working on it. As for the pants though, fit nice. All looks good there. Next up we have Elle Fanning. She's wearing Valentino. She looks beautiful. Well, I love an Elle Fanning and Alessandra Michele matching. It's very enjoyable for me. This is from the most recent Valentino collection, the debut show from Alessandra Michele, and it looks striking. This light blue sort of shawl top, and then this sheerish little, it's not a slip, it's just sort of this sheerish, beautiful gown that falls down. I love the crystal embroidery on it. It's like gorgeous flowers, which is very Alessandro, has a sort of Art Nouveau feeling and experience. So the necklace, it's Cartier. It's beautiful. I love the little, I assume they're emeralds. At the end, it's striking. It perfectly works with the dress. It almost feels like it's a part of the dress, and I think that's what jewelry sometimes should also be. It doesn't need to overshadow this look because you're not gonna, but the way that it perfectly ties in. I also love little feathers. They're beautiful. The way that they trim the hem of the dress, the cuff, the shawl, like it's just, it's really great. It's really light. It's really fluffy, yet it still has this really sort of heavy, beautiful embellishment on it, and it doesn't weigh it down at all. Like, it's perfect. Truly perfect. Next up, we have Jennifer Hudson, and she's wearing Saiid Kobeisy. No, I don't like it at all. I hate it. Don't understand why we wear things. Why do we make them where it's, this is off the shoulder, and then there's a crystal strap, and then the strip of this crystals run on the front and then the side, like, there's just so much happening in the dress and like nothing is working either. So I think that's the other issue, is like there's so much going on and yet nothing's happening. Like it does fit her nicely. That's the only nice thing about it. Everything else is just bits and pieces thrown together to say, oh well, and it's a dress. Next up we have Jennifer Lawrence. She's wearing Bottega Veneta. She's wearing this sort of draped brown sleeveless gown. She is showing off her baby bump. Congratulations, love to see it. What I will say is I'm not obsessed with the dress. I'm not. Something about a drape, I'm never like, I do find the gold hardware element at the neck and also at the side of the waist really intriguing because it is very Mathieu Blasi. We saw a lot of that gold hardware holding up dresses early on during his Bottega collections, and we also saw it a little bit in the red carpet looks too. So I'm interested to see it. The Intrecciato clutch, again, I think is really interesting. Clutch is coming back. I would be intrigued. Overall, I don't hate the dress. I mean, gold, brown, looks really beautiful. The dress fits well. Next up, we have Jennifer Lopez, and she's wearing Zuhair Murad. Listen, I like it. I think it's nice. I feel like it's the usual J-Lo, sexy, sometimes sheer, sometimes really crystallized and heavily embellished and all that sort of stuff. Yes, it's that, and it's form-fitted, but what I love is this overskirt in that black velvet that sort of sits right at the waist and then flows down, because in reality, it helps sort of snatch in the waist. The great thing about a black velvet is it sucks all the light, so it always looks much, much smaller. You can't really see any imperfections. You can't really see any texture very rarely. So in reality, it really does sort of help to create that very small waist illusion. And on top of it, the way that it flows down does not offend me because your eyes are always really sort of looking at the center, which is all this heavy crystallage. So as far as the usual J-Lo chemistry combination, concoction, composition, this feels like a new twist. I'm okay with that. Next up, we have Jeremy Strong, who is wearing Alexander McQueen. I love this color on him. I think this sort of seafoam green is really lovely, really luscious, and it's very sort of silky and satiny, and I'm into it. Do I wish maybe there was a tie? Sort of. But it doesn't offend me that there isn't either. I don't mind. I think that this white shirt is actually a perfect little complement to the color of the green. Does not take tension away, and it sort of perfectly lets you move your way down to the pant. I think the pant fits well. McQueen, we're working on it. Sean McGurr, he's getting there. His custom red carpet stuff, I find, is usually very, very good compared to the runway. So I am slowly becoming acclimated to this. This helps. Next up, we have Julianne Moore, who is wearing Proenza Schooler. It's this very tightly gathered sort of cape, not cape style that moves from the shoulders down and then back into the waist, and then it's a floor-length draped gown. Listen, I think it's nice. I don't hate it. I also think that the jewelry is rather smart. I think these big bangles and the necklace all sort of play well into the fact that those little areas are going to be shown off just perfectly, especially the bangles. I think if you're not going to like keep yourself caped up and cocooned in that little cape, it's kind of a perfect place to put a real jewelry emphasis. But besides that, it's okay, it's nice, it's cute. I feel like we don't really see super gathered styles like this, and I think the cape is intriguing, so I'll take it. Next up, we have Journey Smollett, and she is wearing custom Louis Vuitton. Beautiful, gorgeous, stunning. Normally I don't like a tier in a skirt, but I think the great thing about this balloon hem thing that Nicolas Ghesquière has been doing at LV is it actually lends itself to tiers quite well. I do think that it's a really wonderful way of going about taking these very sort of big, avant-garde, forward-thinking ideas and also bringing it into this sort of real easily understandable and digestible red carpet glamour. I'm sure that there are clients that are going to go, oh, I want that, need that. I think Journey Smollett also is a perfect canvas for a dress like this. I love the bodice. I think it fits her wonderfully. I love the balloon hem tier thing. And then it just sort of perfectly flows, not into a balloon hem for the rest of the skirt, but the idea of the satin all sort of working together, being the same sort of texture for the most part, being the same color. Like, we're not differentiating. We're letting the volume and the texture be the most important thing. And I do think that this works. Next up, we have Kerry Washington, who's wearing Elie Saab. I like it. I think it's nice. I think that the big stole that's floor length and train-like, it works, and I feel like we're seeing a lot of stolage currently. Trend alert. And I don't mind the crystallization at the bust and the straps, and I'm actually kind of just happy that it ends there, and the rest of the dress just sort of does its little thing, all white, clean, easy. The stole creates the train and the drama. Fine with me. I like it. All right, next up we have to talk about Lily Rose Depp. Here's my thing. The dress is beautiful. It's an older style. It's from fall 2018. It's a Chanel haute couture piece, and it's designed by Karl Lagerfeld. And this is from one of Karl's last collections ever. Not his last, but one of the last. And it's this off-the-shoulder, draped, wrapped, gathered, cropped bodice that then flows out into a train, and then a high-waisted white skirt with a big pink flower in it. I love the dress itself. Do I wish maybe she wore a boot? Because I think it had a sort of city vibe to it, if you can actually see in the back of the runway image. It was a recreation of the Seine, and along the Seine there are all these book and art dealers that sell in these little green things. So it was meant to be a little bit like City Slicker moving through the streets of Paris. I think in this context, like, you can dress it up and make it much more red carpet, but I think the boot also was really, really great. What I'm going to say is, and I never talk about things like this, I don't understand the hair. Maybe it's the angle. I don't know what it is, but I don't think that this hairstyle works. Do the curly faux hawk thing that they did, but not this hairstyle, please. I think that was everybody's big issue. Anything else, I think we would have been, oh, so beautiful. This one is not that. Next up, we have Lupita Nyong'o, and she is also wearing Chanel, and you can see the vast difference between Virginie Viard Chanel and Karl Lagerfeld Chanel when we do this. What I will say is the strapless thing is on Lupita. It is. I don't like the embroidery, these little sort of circles. I thought they were grommets, and I was like, oh, hardware. Not the case. It's silver embroidery. And then there's like a gold bull camel thing underneath. I don't know what's happening. I don't. And then also the way that the skirt sort of has like a ruffle, it's like a bed sheet, and then it sort of curves up into the skirt in like an arch form, and I just don't think that that helps anybody whatsoever. So again, really excited for the era of Lupita at Chanel and brand ambassador, but let's appoint whoever's going to be in charge next, because like I can't do this still. Okay, it's not fair to me. And I think we might be getting all of our Chanel shots out of the way. Next up, Margaret Qualley. I don't hate this. This is a Virginie style. It's very bedsheet, Empress Josephine thing. I don't know. It's fine. Like, it could be worse. It really could be so much worse. And I've seen Margaret Qualley be forced to wear so much worse. This is a-okay with me. It's a white dress. Nothing crazy, some silver embellishments, yada yada yada, fine. Taking it. There are worse bed sheets I've seen. Next up we have Mikey Madison, who's wearing Prada. I love this. I think that this very off-the-shoulder conical neckline and bodice actually works really well here. And then you have this gathered skirt. It's a little bit poofy, a little bit baggy. Sweet. Lovely. Really simple, really easy, really go-to glamour, yet it just has that intrigue of a product. Next up we have Nicole Kidman wearing Celine. I never really understand the looping of a dress neckline through a sash, whatever that crystallized situation is, and then like a keyhole and then an off the shoulder. I don't mind the off the shoulder, I don't mind the keyhole, I just don't really get like why you want it to look like you looped your dress over a necklace, but to each. Besides that, I actually think the silhouette is rather beautiful. Really like all the other components of it. I just don't know why you want to loop your dress through costume jewelry, but hey, to each their own, right? Next up we have Paul Mescal wearing Gucci. Simple black suit, nothing really crazy, but I do like the shirt. It has a very medieval feeling to it, like a swashbuckling laced up shirt. I don't know if that's like a real gladiator reference, because I feel like most of the Romans, the Greeks, wore like heavily draped garments and all those sorts of things. So I don't know if that's what that is. Maybe it's just more of a fun historical nod, but I actually think it's kind of cool. I think it's interesting. I think it's something I feel like I very rarely see. Maybe I've never seen red carpet wise from a man. And I think it's a nice way to switch up the normal suiting. So I appreciate this. Next up we have Saoirse Ronan, who's wearing custom Louis Vuitton. I don't know. I like it. Does it look like she's being attacked by gummy worms? Yeah, sure, but I think it's kind of cool. I think the icy blue is really lovely on her. I think that it ends at the perfect place, these big gummy tubes. The rest of the dress, in terms of the skirt, I'm not like obsessed with, but I don't hate it. It's letting the gummy worms do the thing. That's the main focus. I will happily chew. Rot my teeth out. It's fine. Next up we have Selena Gomez. She's wearing Ralph Lauren. I think this is lovely on her. I really do. I like the sequin. I like the collar. I like the cuff. I really like the cuff. I think it's a great way of Ralph doing what he does well, which is incorporate tailoring elements, which is a heavy part of the business and a big house code, but also sort of bringing in a suave evening attire in this really lovely black sequin gown. It's just the perfect melding of the two worlds, and it looks lovely. Next up we have Tilda Swinton, who is wearing Standing Ground. Standing Ground is a cool, young and up-and-coming British brand. I love it. I think it's like the perfect Tilda thing to do, to wear a cool up-and-coming brand and yet still look super avant-garde. I love, these are like foamy kind of beads, and yes, I always say it looks a little bit anal beady, a little bit alien, about to come out of your skin. At the same time, Tilda carries it really well. I like the way that it fits to the body and yet has an intriguing take on like ruching and sort of gathering and things like that. That's what you need in fashion. Sure, it looks like she's an intergalactic space empress, but like I wouldn't want anything else for Tilda. And finally we have Zoe Saldana. She is wearing custom Saint Laurent. I think I like this. Ruched seafoamy green. I actually love the color on her, and I feel like the color is very light for Saint Laurent. Like I feel like I was kind of shook that this was Saint Laurent. It does seem like there's a drape that comes down the front of the dress and then loops around the neck, and then it becomes like a stole thing. I think it's kind of intriguing. I'm not like obsessed with it, but I do think that it's really different for Anthony Vaccarello and Saint Laurent. I'm into it. I like the fact that we're keeping a very steady stocking and heel, very Saint Laurent-esque. I don't know. I like it. Normally, I'm not like obsessed with like a Zoe Saldana fashion moment. Like this, I'm into it. It's working for me. Let's talk about best and worst. Best, I am giving to Journey Smollett in Louis Vuitton. I am giving to Elle Fanning in Valentino. I am giving to Jeremy Strong and Alexander McQueen. I am giving to... I'll put Tilda in there. Yeah, I think that's good. As for worst, I'm gonna put... Amy Adams, did not understand. I'm gonna put... Jennifer Hudson, did not understand. I'm gonna put Lily Rose Depp because I just can't get over the hair thing, and that's a crazy one for me. Lupita Nyong'o, which is not her fault, and I think that's good. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video, and TTY.